No race, did well in the circumstances to finish fourth, so got a nice draw. Providing we can get out the gates in a good fashion, I think we should be hard to beat.
Best of luck and very well done.
Lovely, thank you. Cheers.
Runners parading for the 8 o'clock here at Chelmsford. This is Division 1 of the 6 furlong handicap, 0 to 52. We're looking at number 6, that is Laertes. 0 from 13 so far, but only had 3 starts for Mick Appleby, so early days for him. Made no inroads over 7 furlongs last time here, and first time cheap pieces used then are retained now. We'll need to find something more, but his trainer, of course, is well capable with this type. Drops to a mark of 49, does Laertes. Behind number 6, that is number 2. And that is last date. All 3 of his wins have come here, including over course and distance, but his last 2 runs at this track haven't been great. And as a result, he's down to a mark off which he is very capable. Kevin Stott is a handy booking, and the big plus is he manages to sneak into a 0 to 52 off a mark of 53. Behind number 2, that's number 4. That is Senor Pockets. And a horse who's probably going to have to find a little bit on recent efforts. He's not been in brilliant form recently. 7th of 9 last time out when he was seen 51 days ago. That needs certainly improvement. And although his mark is dropping, I'd be inclined to look elsewhere. Behind him is number 9. That's Arlecchino's Gift. Joey Haynes now replaces George Downing, who of course had that nasty spill a little bit earlier on. Hopefully all is okay with George. And Arlecchino's Gift was a winner a little bit earlier in the season at Windsor in June. Only £2 higher now, but has been pretty poor since then. It remains to be seen whether the switch back to all weather is going to perk him up again. Behind him, all on the other side of the parade ring, is number 13. That's Rita Rocks. Handicap mark of 31 rather tells its own story, I'm afraid, and she's over a stone out of the handicap, so it's probably worth looking elsewhere. Behind her is number 7. That is Macho Mania. Beaten a long way in a 4 on a maiden last time out and has rapidly dropped a long way in the weights. Needs to arrest what is effectively at the moment quite a turbulent decline. Behind number 7, that is number 10, and that's Darlow Pride. 5 furlongs in his last couple of starts. He's 0 from 12, but has hit the post, hit the crossbar, finishing second twice here and at Yarmouth. The big question mark over his name at the moment is whether 6 furlongs is going to suit quite as well. Wide draw and 13 makes things tricky, but I think 6 furlongs will just about be up his street. It remains to be seen if he was going to get a slightly more conservative ride over this distance, but I think he has claims, considering he's one of the few informed contenders in this race. Behind him is number 11, that's Alya's Gold Award. 0 from 21 thus far, only finished placed once this term. First start on the weather for Tony Carroll and the dropping handicap mark, about the only positives you can really give her. Behind number 11, that's number 1. That is El Hibri. We just heard from Billy Loughnane. He must be feeling pretty confident about this 6-5 market leader. He's been in very good form of late, this horse, finishing second on his last start for Tony Carroll and has kept the good work going for Ian Williams, winning at Kempton and then coming 4th at Wolverhampton last time out, off a £5 higher mark. Has the same rating tonight, but the main takeout of his effort last time was the fact that he reared at the gates, which made things almost impossible from the outset. No such antics tonight, hopefully, and if that is the case, he'll be very difficult to beat, in my opinion. Behind him is number 8. That's Narwand. Tried over 4 different trips since joining William Knight, including the 6 furlong distance. Struggled on all of those outings, to be quite frank, and needs a big turnaround here. Behind him, number 3, that's Brazen Girl. Little shown in qualifying runs thus far over further, and now drops back in trip for handicap debut. But a mark of 51 gives her a chance now handicapping, and she is the most likely raced of all of these. And that's about it then for horses in this 7th race. This is Division 1 of the Classics handicap over 6 furlongs, 0 to 52.
Is a horse that I'd like to think might have the setup of the race in his favour, Martin. I just think that this is a horse that probably will break well out of stall 2, and Billy Loughnane would want to get a good early posse like he did in the last race.
Yeah, this is a very simple race in a way, Jess. El Hibri, if he jumps out of the stalls, he wins. He absolutely bolted up at Kempton. Richard Kingscote rode him that day and he jumped well and absolutely... I mean, he won so easy. He's off such a low mark. He'd worked his way down to a low mark and left the money behind at Windsor when he reared up and got left behind and made all the ground up and then just got beat by 100 to 1 shot. Won at Kempton, and then he did the same last time at Wolverhampton, reared up and missed the kick. He's so well in. Louis will remember this horse. He was second on him off a mark of 80 when Brian Mean trained him. He's come down to a mark, he's off 57. So it just all depends on whether you want to, if people want to have the money on, hoping he comes out at 6-5. he's got to come out the stalls and then he wins. Would you say, Louis?
Well, yeah, I mean, I managed to lead and make the running on him, so maybe, I don't know, was that me a jockey error or not? I don't know, but yeah, El Hibri, I actually remember him quite well, Martin. Me and you used to ride a bit for Brian, me and you more than me, but a former Shadwell horse, and one that has just kind of, I wouldn't say he's got a bad attitude in any way, because I always used to remember him as very straightforward. I guess they can change, and he has come back in trip and maybe gained a bit of speed, and yeah, it's not, I don't think I'll be put off too much by it. I think I know we can see, I guess, from his Kempton win that he can do it if he wants to do it. So
it's just either side of that. He's got left badly, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So it's a bit. You roll the dice. He's the best horse off the. He's well handicapped. He's the best horse in the race, but he's got to come out with that starting stall.
Okay, and if he doesn't, is there something that you'd be feared that was just going to take advantage of his laziness?
Well, this is it. I suppose his nearest rival, Last Dates, has got form in the book but hasn't won for over 2 years. Darlow Pride would be of interest, 0 from 12, but the last 2 runs have been his best, and staying on over 5 for Anthony Carson, with Willie Carson in the saddle. But he's drawn his stall 13, so there's quite a few negatives about a lot of the others, but it really is El Hibri's race to win or lose from the starter stalls, the way I see it.
Yeah, from a betting perspective, there's not a huge amount happening around. As you say, Darlow Pride possibly just coming in for a little bit of support, but it was open enough from a betting perspective. I was just having a look at the handicap newcomer, Brazen Girl, for mark of 51. She's not done a huge amount, but I always just like to see, in a respect to this kind of race, whether that's going to be a workable mark or not for John Butler, whose horse has been running a bit patchy, I would say, over the last while. Well,
John Butler's horses are always worth a glance when they're running the handicap for the first time, but there doesn't seem to be any money for her. So yeah, there's not a lot to be positive about there. Possibly, I did look at Mick Appleby's runner, Laurettes. Hasn't won a run in 13 races. Placed for David Easterby over course and distance in May. A return to that form would put him in with a big chance. But he's got to, again, you've got to go back and find that form. Been a bit in and out of late, and he's drawn 10. So yeah, it's all about El Hibri for me. Yeah,
I think if El Hibri does break well and is quick out, I wouldn't be surprised if Jumeirah Bridge just was part of it. You know, it might just be on a more workable mark now. For mark of 49, it's just dropped down a little bit, but it's fairly low level stuff. El Hibri, is he good enough? It looks like his race to lose, as said here, so we'll see what Tom has to think.
El Hibri for me as well, Jess, I'm afraid. Simple as that. I thought that was a massive run last time in 4th, considering nothing went right for him. Before that, he was an easy winner. And this is a race in which so many have got something to prove. And El Hibri just sticks out like a proper sore thumb, doesn't he? Like the hurtiest of sore thumbs. He's just there to be seen. I think he should win, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it all depends on his start, doesn't it? He reared last time, and you would be willing to put that down to a one-off, wouldn't you? Hopefully he won't do it again. Obviously, if he does, then you start thinking about a horse who's got problems with the stalls. But I don't think you can read too much into it from one start. So hopefully that was an anomaly, and we don't see it again from El Hibri, because I think he's got everything in his favour tonight, and he can go forward and strike once again. 2 wins from his last 3 starts from the top of the weights. Last Date is a danger, there's no doubt about that. Dropping down in the weights, and with Kevin Stott on board, I just feel as though we've not seen anything really to approach decent form from this one for quite a long time. And you're taking a lot on chance that he's become well treated enough and is in fine enough fettle to produce a run that's capable of winning a race such as this one, and indeed capable of getting to the girths of a horse like El Hibri, who, in my opinion, is clearly still a little bit ahead of his mark after that 4th last time. And of course, Billy Loughnane looking for his double after winning aboard the horse a little bit earlier on. Angel of Peace for Thurlow Thoroughbreds. That is number 1, El Hibri going into the stalls. That is number 5, Jumeirah Bridge, veteran of the game, needs a strong pace to aim at. He might well get it. Here's John.
6 furlongs. Gates back and away they go. Al Hibri didn't start particularly well. Narwand was also slowly out, so too Brazen Girl in the fireworks spectacular at Chelmsford City Racecourse Handicap as they make their way through the early stages. Alia's Gold Award was also extremely slowly away and is out of the race in any meaningful way. So it's Darlow Pride that goes on here now, though. The grey horse in the grey and black colours also prominent there in the early stages is Macho Mania. Then right round the outside, Senor Pockets is being rushed up to get a posse. There then followed by Last Date, Arlecchino's Gift. The favourite El Hibri is in mid-division being driven along. Then up the inside, Jumeirah Bridge, followed by Laertes, then Brazen Girl. Then we have Rita Rocks in the lilac and pink colours. After that, Narwand, and the very slow starting Alia's Gold Award is tailed off. Starting to make the swing for home. Just over 2 furlongs left to go. And out in front by 2 or 3 lengths is Senor Pockets. Jefferson Smith sees initiative a long way out here. Darlow Pride turns in second. They're then followed by Macho Mania racing in third. Down the centre of the track comes Last Date. Arlecchino's Gift trying to get going. Al Hibri is now getting a little bit closer, but there's lots to do from there. Inside the final furlong, Senor Pockets tackled and passed by Darlow Pride. Darlow Pride, Senor Pockets battling back. Arlecchino's Gift, the far side, is motoring home. Darlow Pride, Arlecchino's Gift. Darlow Pride beats Arlecchino's Gift. Very tight for third. I think Senor Pockets just held on from an absolute phalanx of horses in behind. Can't work out the fourth. We'll leave that to the judge.
The busiest finish of the night here at Chelmsford sees Darlow Pride coming in front, and a couple of starts over 5 furlongs. This time it's 6 furlongs, and he breaks his duck and sees off the rallying Arlecchino's Gift on the far side. Very close for third. Looks as though Last Date has just nosed ahead of the front-running Senor Pockets, who went off very fast indeed. But Darlow Pride gets that win on the board, returning 15-2 for trainer Anthony Carson for William Carson, and I think that's a pretty good ride, because a draw of 13 over a 6-furlong distance at Chelmsford is never an easy thing to try and defy. But he's got a nice early position there as Darlow Pride and William Carson, and they have had Senor Pockets to set their eyes on. A fine target to aim at for Darlow Pride, and although it's taken half the straight to get to him, by the time he has got to him, there's nothing closing fast or potently enough in and around him to see him off. Arlecchino's Gift, that's much, much better. Certainly returning to the kind of form we saw at Windsor a little bit earlier in the season, but Darlow Pride has done enough. El Hibri, disappointing in behind, never really looked to be going. He did rear from the stalls, but you couldn't really put that down to why he lost the race there, because he actually had a pretty decent position. He just didn't really look in love with the game in that contest particularly, and Billy Loughlane had to ride him for quite a long way out. Unlike Darlow Pride, who travelled with zest, enthusiasm and panache, and has won a penultimate race.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Darlow Pride, who's been a bridesmaid the last 2 starts, this was his opportunity, and back on the weather at Chelmsford has seen him to good effect. But let's look at El Hibri coming out of 2, goes on his back legs again a bit, Martin, but not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, he's not as bad as a couple of previous times, but he still went up in the air. He comes out slow, and then he gets covered up, horses around him, and then he just seems to throw in the towel. When he won at Kempton, he hit the gates really quickly under Richard Kingscote, and he took 2 lengths out of the field and never see another horse. He's got ability, this horse, but he needs to get out and get in command, and he's much happier. Once he's in amongst horses, he never looked happy. He actually spat the bridle out there. You see Billy chasing him along, and yeah, it wasn't his night today.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't. Whereas, as mentioned by Tom, I think William Carson coming out of 13, he was sort of allowed to make his way around in a race where Senor Pockets sort of gave him a great opportunity, a great dart to aim at, Louis.
Yeah, definitely. And this horse is coming from 5 furlongs up to 6 furlongs today, so probably stood him in good stead in just having that bit of gate speed to kind of get a good position from stall 13. And I thought it was a very good ride from William Carson. He didn't panic when Senor Pockets rounded outside and kind of took the race away from him. But yeah, a good ride, very straightforward again. The kind of rhythm's the same all night, isn't it? Up on the pace and the same as it always is at Chelmsford, really. So jockeys do try and do that if they can, and like Martin said, El Hibri just looked like he sulked and spat his dummy out. Yeah,
as did Alia's Gold Award, who you can see coming out of 6. She wasn't that interested, I'm afraid. So no race at all. I think Laurette's is the one that was coming out the pack, also having to go down a wide trip. Suddenly just saw him coming out of nowhere in our shots from the other angle. But really doesn't have a huge amount of a chance really there. So Laurette's maybe on another day, more forwardly ridden, might be one to note.
Yeah, he did catch the eye, Laris, didn't he? I'm not quite sure how he ended up so wide. I suppose he was drawn in stall 10 and Frederick Larson ended up on the outside, but for a minute he caught the eye like he was going to flash home, and it was a bit too much to do. He ran a good race. I think he's one to keep an eye on. With a better draw next time he could win. But this horse, Darla's Pride, deserves this win. He's been knocking on the door, as we said, running over 5 furlongs and finishing strong. So step up to 6 from a wide draw, good performance, and pleased for William Carson. Good rider and doesn't quite get the opportunities he deserves.
Yeah, he's the winner not too long ago, I think, but this is a nice winner for Anthony Carson as well. So Darla Pride, I think, was 15-2 for Clive Dennett, the owner. Well done to that team. Second was Arlecchino's Gift at 33-1. Third was Last Date at 7-2.